Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityur Ma Amritam Kamaya. ಇದುವರೆಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಆದರೆ ನಾನು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಡಿಯರ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಯೋಗಾನಂದ, dear Sri Raghavendra Chennai, dear Chakravarti, other dignitaries here, and all those who are present here. One of the reasons which prompted me to agree to come for this beautiful function is that Swamiji and Swami Vivekananda and Ramatheertha were interconnected. Just now Chakravarti referred to a beautiful incident from the life of Ramatheertha about how they met and what change took place in Ramatheertha. In fact, celebrating the works, the message of a great spiritual thinker is an important step for development of spirituality in any society. Spirituality grows where spiritual men are honored and revered. In that society where spiritual men, spiritual figures are not honored, in that society spirituality does not grow. In order that we grow in spiritual life, we should honor spiritual men, and India has been the blessed Punya Bhumi which has produced thousands of them. Every state of India, every district, every taluk of India, there are holy men. A Westerner once pointed out, if you walk through the Western countries, you come across a saint once perhaps in a year. In India, you come across them by hours. Again, one of them said, in terms of spirituality, India alone is a millionaire. All other nations are paupers. This great land, this great Punya Bhumi has given rise to holy men everywhere. And this is one of the very important characteristics of India. When Swamiji returned from the West in 1897, he gave a series of talks starting from Colombo down to Madras and then further to Himalayas through Calcutta. He also went to Lahore where he met Ramatheertha. During his speeches all through, one thing that he constantly, continuously went on emphasizing is that India has religion or spirituality as its nerve center. You neglect the nerve center, the body dies. Likewise, he said, for other countries there are different nerve centers. For some countries it is politics, for some countries it is military, in some countries it is perhaps scientific temper. In India, he said, everything has to be seen through spiritual eyes. If you present things through spirituality, through religion, the Indian mind understands. Indian mind is basically a spiritual, a religious mind. These words of Swamiji are repeated in many ways in his speeches. Ramatheertha was, as we already know, influenced by Swami Vivekananda. Before we proceed further, I shall read a small translation I brought the paper with me, of the Urdu biography of Ramatheertha ji, where it is mentioned how he met Swami Vivekananda. In just one page, I'll read that to you. When Swami Vivekananda visited Lahore in 1897, he met Swami Ramatheertha, who was then known as Goswami Tirtharam. It is a Tirtharam, when you reverse it, it becomes Ramatheertha. A mathematician, a mathematics professor in a college in Lahore. One of his nephews, Goswami Brijlal, was also staying there with him, who later wrote a biography of Swami Ramatheertha in Urdu, published from Lahore in 1912, 6 years after the passing away of Ramatheertha. We shall read a small section on Swamiji from that book. In November, that is in 1897, Swami Vivekananda visited Lahore along with his disciples. He was put up in the Haveli of Raja Dhyan Singh at Hiramandi, where Jagadguru Shankaracharya, one of the Jagadgurus, also had been put up earlier. Goswamiji, that is Tirtharam, and his students had arranged for his lectures also in the same place. There was a lot of open space there. Even then it used to be so crowded that it was not possible to accommodate all the people for the functions. By sheer luck, Professor Bose Circus had come to Lahore then. As there was no alternative, Swamiji's lecture had to be arranged in the circus pandal itself. Goswamiji listened to his lectures with great interest and enthusiasm, and inspired others also to listen to him. He became so intimate with Swami Vivekananda ji that he even brought him to his residence for dinner. His Western disciples also dined there itself. After taking his meals, before parting, Swamiji looked into the personal library of Goswamiji and picked up a book or two for reading. It is in the blood of the Punjabis in general that they serve any guest or holy man to the best of their might and try to gift him the dearest of the things. Therefore, Goswamiji offered him his most valuable belonging, a golden watch, but Swami Vivekananda, putting it back into Goswamiji's pocket, said that he would use it from that pocket itself. This one meeting of Tirtharam or Goswami Tirtharam, which made him into Ramatheertha later, with Swami Vivekananda, was a momentous meeting. It ignited something which was lurking within. It's just like putting fire to something where very dry haystack inside, you slowly started burning. He already had something within. He already had some samskara, some holy longing. As it is said in the Gita, that only after you have gone through a lot of experiences in life, that you start seeking God. Bahunama janmante jnanaman mam prapadyante vasudeva vidis sarvam samahatma sadurlabha. Such a person is very rare. Durlabha, sudurlabha, samahatma. He is a great person. One who, after many births, realizes that God and God alone is true. Ultimate Brahman or ultimate reality or ultimate truth alone is reality, and he takes refuge in that reality. Such a person is really very rare and very blessed. He was one such person who had gone through, perhaps, we do not know the past lives of the people, but he had gone through a lot of experiences and come to that place where he was waiting for the spark to come. And Swamiji provided that, and the rest is history. He was born, Tirtharamji was born 10 years before Swamiji, 10 years after Swamiji, that is 1873. And he passed away 4 years after Swamiji, which means he was just 33 years old when he passed away. He was a spiritual giant, to say the least. He has left an impression on our mind, on our national consciousness. In one of his writings, Swami Vivekananda says, if you are sincere, if you are earnest, you don't have to make it public. If you are sincere, and if you are thinking of a thought, sincere, noble thought, even in a cave, that thought will not die. It will go on pulsating, and it will wait for that moment when the right recipient is there and the thought is caught there and it gets manifest there. That is how we find now and then a great thought manifesting through these great people. Today we have a world which is very much benefited and also marred by media. Media is a modern god. Often through media we hear many things which are good, many things which are not very good, very unpleasant. In such situations, we look for an authentic spiritual personality on whom we can lay our emphasis, or lay our faith, lay our trust without any question. When you think of that authentic personalities, think of them, one of them is Ramatheertha. Authentic. You don't have to question his credentials. He was given to a spiritual life. Again we ask the question, what is spirituality? We are speaking of who are spiritual giants, but what is spirituality? The word spirituality is, it derived from the word spirit. Spirit does not mean, as we say, Bhuta. Spirit means something deep within us. This question comes to all of us. Who are we? Chakravarti referred to my interactions with students in IIT Madras, and I find, despite all our opinion about they being very intelligent, they being extremely sharp in their academics, and of course they are, there is a hunger in them to know something about life, to know something about spirituality. The result is that every Sunday, and Sunday for a student to get up early in the morning and dress up and go to a function or to a class, it's an achievement. So they do that achievement every Sunday. Many of them, it's an open invitation. People come, around 50, 60, 70 people. It's free. There is no membership. It's not a trade. It's not a commerce. People are welcome. People are welcome to hear. And around 2 hours, 2.5 hours, we have our class. What I find is many of them, they ask this question, what is the ultimate goal of life? All right, I finished my JEE, I cracked it well. I got into one of the best institutions with the dream of all middle class students or children. Having reached there, what next? What is the goal of life? This is what the sages in India have thought over. Our tradition is called wisdom tradition. Ours is not based on any prophet or having any person who has founded religion. The Sanatana Dharma is apaurushaya, without any persons having been the founder. That founderless religion has got an eternal, Sanatana means eternal, an eternal relevance. It is there that we find our rishis pointing out that the ultimate goal of life is self-realization. When you read the lives or the works of people like Ramatheertha, you realize, yes, it is so. They do not say that there cannot be any other goal of life. They say that is the ultimate goal of life. But there are other goals. Once you have fulfilled those goals, then you come to this ultimate goal. Very often you have this question asked in the Sanatana Dharma. We say there are Chaturvida Purushartha, 4 types of purposes of human beings. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. If on one side you are saying Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha is the goal of life, on the other side you say self-realization of the goal is the life of the human life, the goal of the human life. Isn't it yourself contradicting yourself? Not really. All are not immediately ready for moksha. All are not interested in that, not because they are incompetent or they are poor or they should be hated upon. This is one mistake we did in India at one point of time, which Swamiji has pointed out in his lectures, that when we try to say the whole race seek only moksha, all are not ready for that. Let them prepare themselves through seeking a righteous fulfillment of their desires. That's why we say first is artha, then first is dharma, then is artha, and then is kama. Dharma, artha, kama. First dharma, ethics. Today we are in the midst of, we might call it as scam yuga. Every now and then we hear of scam or corruption or endless. You open the newspaper and you find, why did I open the paper? Why is it so? We have endless greed. A greed which doesn't have any full stops. This greed which is not checked, this desire which is not checked by dharma. Dharma says, yes, you have right to artha, you have right to kama, but it should not be opposed to dharma. It should be within the parameter of dharma. What we call today as higher values. Need for higher values. It is not sufficient that you have more knowledge. It is not sufficient you get more and more facts, and internet is it gives you an explosion of facts. You must know how to use facts. That's wisdom. You must have wisdom, and for wisdom you have to turn to these wisdom traditions. The Sanatana Dharma, which is a wisdom tradition, which brings before us this idea that essentially all of us, irrespective of our social status, our other backgrounds, all considerations and conditions, irrespective of that, essentially each one is divine. Essentially, there is the divine spark present in everyone. Let us ignite it. In whom it is fully ignited, such people are called sages. Spirituality is related to spirit, which means divinity within. It is not spiritualism, which of course deals with spirits or bhutas, but it is dealing with the self within, adhyatma. Adhyatma means that which is within. The word outside, of course, we see. We know what this word is. Our senses are revealing. And such a beautiful word for the word in Sanskrit, prapancha. That which is seen through five senses, it's called prapancha. And that prapancha is constantly changing. Jagata. Jagata means constantly changing. Gatiman. And this word outside reveals one reality. It does not reveal the reality which is within us. So we have to learn the art of turning or going within. That is where spirituality lies. One of the monks once, he pointed out that we have three gunas in us, sattva, rajas, tamas. Sattva is the quality of serenity, rajas is the activity, and tamas is laziness or darkness. It is said that Sandhya Kala, when the sun and when the night and the day are meeting, there are four sandhyas supposed to be. The Pratha Sandhya, the Madhyanika Sandhya, the Sayam Sandhya, and it's also called as Turiya Sandhya. Turiya Sandhya is around 12 o'clock when the night starts declining, so to say, towards the day. So, in these four Sandhyas, mind is generally calm. It is at that time that a person should make best use of his time. So it is said in Pratha Sandhya, one should begin by thinking of God, begin by repeating the sacred name of God, or simply say Om and start your day. So also in the evening, so also in the late night, if you are awake. There are some monks who meditate in the midnight because it has been told to them by their teacher, their guru, that you must meditate at the Turiya Sandhya. Now these Sandhyas, especially let us say the Sayam Sandhya, can be used or can be spent based on three gunas. There is this guna of tamas. If it is manifesting in the Sayam Sandhya, then you would like to sleep. If there is evening and if tamas has overpowered you, you will go to bed. It is said you should not sleep in the Sandhya Kala. Suppose you are overpowered by rajas, then you want to go to cinema theatre. Or if you are in Chennai, you would like to go to Marina Beach. Or you would like to do something, go to a restaurant and eat. But if you are fortunate enough, and I think all of us are fortunate enough, if Sattva has come in the Sayam Sandhya, we want to hear holy things. We want to meditate. We want to light a lamp and sit before the Lord. Repeat God's name. Because at that time Sattva has come up. In the Sayam Sandhya, Satya has come up. This is one such occasion that we are discussing something holy. We have paid our own humble tribute to a spiritual giant of India, one who has done so much by way of presenting India's spiritual tradition in a very authentic way. This morning I was looking at the English version of his complete works, and as I opened, he begins, there's a mention about his talk, even somewhere near Boston, and he begins his talk by saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, you who are myself in the form which I am seeing before you." That is Vedanta. He begins his thing by Vedanta. I am present in others and I am addressing myself to myself. It is I, this divine me in me, which is present in divine in others, and who is listening to this. Control of the self. Self means in a lower way in body and mind. This is the basis of spirituality. Self-control. Once in one of our classes in IIT, we were having a discussion about control of mind. And there was a subject which was discussed in detail. What does Vedanta speak of control of mind? What is mind according to the Hindu tradition? What is the meaning of control of mind? Hearing all this, one of the students got up at the end and he put a question. Why was I not told about the mind and its control when I was young and I was in school? If I had known this, much of my teenage problems would not have occurred at all. If you look at him or hear him more carefully, he is not complaining. He is saying that we elders are to be blamed for not giving spiritual ideas to them. We think they are interested only in mal culture or in only having more gadgets and listening to more internet things. Well, there is also a deep hunger to know something higher. Often we do not cater to that. So my request to all who are present here is, please present them with authentic books. Give them authentic spiritual literature. Now today is a world of technology, and you can just write a book and print it to 2,000 copies. Without ever knowing God, you can say how to know God. Without ever controlling yourself, you can say how to control the mind, or you never meditate and you write a book about meditation. Because technology is available. You can print, you can just compose yourself and get it printed. So in this situation, you have so many forces coming over. And the young mind gets very much confused. They go to the different things. And whenever any question comes, earlier they used to say, if any question comes, you go to your mother or father, you go to teacher. Nowadays they go to Google. And somebody said, Google Aya Namaha. So there you have all kinds of things available to you. You do not know what is authentic, what is not authentic, what is really based on experience and really connected to spiritual tradition, or something which is simply someone's imagination, or he is a half-baked truth which he is giving us. We do not know this. So at that time, you have to see that they are given authentic guidance. You have Ramatheertha's work, which is quite authentic. You have Swami Vivekananda's works, which is so authentic. In the introduction to Vivekananda's works, Sister Nivedita says that in days to come, for centuries to come, whenever a Hindu would like to know what his religion is, he will turn to these pages. He would like to know what is the authentic explanation for what I believe in. why I believe in this, why I do puja, why I do sandhya vandanam, why I offer my pranams to others, why hundreds of whys in our culture, in our tradition, they will turn to these pages. You won't find question answers there in like this form, but you will find enough philosophy to make it clear. So maybe it's difficult to present a book, a big book, give a small book. Let it become available to them so that they don't get frightened by its size. Before I conclude, 2 more points I will tell and then I will conclude. Sage Patanjali, we should all know that in today's world we often refer to psychology, and psychology is just 200 years old, even less. As a science, psychology started just 200 years back in the West. It was never a big science, whereas in India, science of psychology or science of mind has existed for thousands of years. Just 2000 years back, Patanjali, the great sage, systematized the knowledge about mind, psychology, in the form of what we call as Patanjali Yoga Sutras. He makes one statement there, a sutra there. He says, Vitaraga Chittam Va. He says you want to control the mind, which is the basis of spirituality. If you want to develop inner joy, instead of being dependent on external instruments or gadgets to get your joy, you want to have sattvic kind of joy, which does not go away, which does not leave a reaction behind, then please make your mind pure. And this purity of mind, he said, you can have by meditating on a chitta, a mind, which is free from raga. Think of a saint. Think of a holy person. And there you will find that thinking purifying your mind. When you look at a small child, innocent, simple, unassuming, so busy with living that he does not care about others, he does not have anything to show to others or impress others, he is what he is, you feel you are in a different world. A saint is very much close to a child. So when you read his life, when you read incidents from his life, when you read his message, you purify the mind. So when we take up study of such books, as just now we released one, it is an exercise of purifying the mind. On a spiritual angle, it is a very beneficial, very helpful practice. In one of his writings, Ramatheertha wrote, God is neither Mr. nor Mrs. He is a mystery. And his volumes are filled with such beautiful statements. It is said that he was born on the day of Deepavali. He left his home, he was a married person. He left his home on the day of Deepavali and he passed away on the day of Deepavali. There is some coincidence there. There is something which is to be marked there. Finally, Swami Vivekananda says in one of his letters written to his Madras disciples, if a nation, if a person has to become great, he should have 3 things. First, have faith in the power of goodness. Often we lose it. Our elders are here, a few young people are also here. Very often as we grow in age, we lose faith in the power of goodness. If you find some good person, you say, oh, poor man, he's good. He will not do any harm to us. He's good. Why should not be goodness also be strong? Why should it be weak? Please think about it. Goodness should be strong, proactive, assertive. Why should it be weak? This is the first thing he says. Have faith in the power of goodness. Second, he says, absence of jealousy. This jealousy is the characteristic of all slave minds. Any slave race will find it difficult to rise because the slaves are generally very jealous of each other. And this has become a characteristic of Indians. There are so many internet jokes about Indians being this and Indian being that. But But one thing which is very often spoken of is their mutual jealousy. And jealousy comes from a basic idea. It's a kind of mental violence. If you want to be truly non-violent, you have to be established in absence of jealousy. It's a kind of inner lack of something. It comes from the idea that this world has only this much. There is a scarcity mentality. The resources are very scarce. He can become chairman, I cannot become chairman. Or he will pass and I will not come to that. Instead of that, they said that you try to develop an abundant mentality. There is enough for everyone. When the time comes, when you deserve it, it will come to you. This deserving is produced by karma, right action. So, absence of jealousy is the second thing. And third thing says, to do good and be good and help all those who are trying to be good and do good. Anyone who is trying to do good at work, anyone who is trying to become good, please extend your helping hand to him. Please do not try to raise some issue which is so non-important and say, no, I will not go and help him. You have come here in last numbers, that's a sign that you are very much into that. I am very happy that I could share some thoughts on this beautiful occasion where in this Sai Sandhya, we are all thinking of something holy, trying to make that the Sattva Guna in us, the serenity, the element of calmness in us is further enhanced. May more and more such functions celebrating India's spiritual tradition are held all over the country and more people benefit from that. Namaskar.